Well, folks, this is, of course, our last week of the course, last weekly announcement that I will be doing. And in this final week of the course, what we'll be covering is a little bit about the information about particular functions that are conducted by specific brain regions, and then also looking at development. And we'll not just look at childhood, but we'll also be looking at adolescence, adulthood, as well as aging and grieving. Because of course, as healthcare professionals, you will be dealing with people at all ages. Heck, even if you're a labor and delivery nurse, you're still going to be encountering patients and their families who are on the later end of the spectrum of development. So in terms of your tasks for this week, I don't think there's really anything that's terribly new in terms of the type of task you'll be doing, but still I'll run through what we have going on this week. You have your reading guide, and as you learned in the memory section, you would be well advised to use the objectives that are listed there as your own little quiz questions to assess how well you're learning the material. In terms of the videos, the first thing I have up here is really one of my favorite videos, and this relates to the brain section. So this is Jill Bolte Taylor, and this is her TED Talk. She's talking about the stroke that she experienced, and I think this is a really exciting glimpse into the life of the neuropsychological patient. And I think it's made even more exciting by the fact that this particular patient is a neuroscience researcher, and she was a neuroscience researcher during the time that she experienced her stroke. And so she talks about it, first of all, the fact that it's a stroke victim who's recovered that's talking about it is already exciting enough, but she also talks about it with the knowledge of somebody who's really well versed in what the brain is doing. And then after we review that, we'll get into some development videos. Now I have a number of these short little videos demonstrating different tests that Jean Piaget conducted that show changes in development. And they are adorable. I promise you that. They are adorable. But they also illustrate these concepts like conservation, egocentrism, self-recognition, things that emerge at different points in our cognitive development. Now this video right here, I never know whether to put it in the development section or the cognition section because it refers to emotional intelligence. That's a concept from last week. But it also gets into some issues about effective parenting and how we can help our children, and ourselves quite frankly, learn to say no and learn to engage in self-control. And then the last video in this series for this week is related to autism. And this looks at how classrooms can be modified to support students who are on the autism spectrum. And this is worthwhile, I think, because one of your tasks for this week is to consider how you might modify your delivery of healthcare for somebody who has autism. So that's going to be your journal task. And to help you with that journal task, not only do you have that video, but I'm also providing you with access to this particular reading that really gets at this specific issue of how healthcare professionals might modify their care so that they're giving the same overall quality, but maybe doing it in slightly different ways that address some of the challenges that people with autism experience. So for your journal, what I'm just going to be asking you to do is to reflect on that. How might you modify your care? What are some things you want to be mindful of and why? And I encourage you to consider not just the patient who has autism, but maybe also the person who is giving care to that patient. It might be a parent, it might be a caregiver, but realizing that they also probably need some special care. In addition to that journal, the other major graded activity would be your group discussion. Now for this week, the group discussion is going to focus on best practices in marriage and parenting. And quite often the things that make you an effective parent will also make you an effective spouse. Now to support you in your preparation for that group discussion board, I have provided various readings. Now you are not expected to do all of this reading. You can see I've put a lot of things in here. But I just wanted to provide you with some resources that I think are well researched. They're based on good ideas, they're evidence-based, and you can use this to support your reflection on the group discussion board. Now, it is not necessary to reserve a topic here. Let's open this up. What you're going to be doing is choosing a particular topic though. So within being a successful spouse, it might be, your topic might be fighting fair, or engaging in active listening, or promoting thoughtful communication, or enhancing trust, something like that. A general topic that you are going to be focusing on, and similarly in parenting, it might be effective discipline for a 2-year-old or effective discipline for a 13-year-old. You can choose what your particular topic is, and if somebody else has already focused on that topic, you can still do the topic, just expect it to make sure you're adding something unique to the conversation. So the same basic idea as every other week holds. You have your major post that's due Thursday evening, at least 250 words, and then you also have responses that need to be completed at some point in the remainder of the week. Again, I have provided these readings to you. You may use any of them that you wish. You're also certainly welcome to use additional readings. You all have really done a fantastic job in this course of doing some additional reading. It's so great to see that curiosity and the enthusiasm for the topic. But I just wanted to make sure that you had reliable evidence that you could use for this discussion board. And of course, you're also welcome to use your textbook. All right, now in addition to that journal reflection and the group discussion board, you also have, as you do each week, 2 UPR presentations. Both of them are related to development. The first one relates to the work of Harry Harlow, where he's looking at attachment in, I think it's chimpanzees. And the second is looking at the other end of the aging or development spectrum, and that is older adults, specifically residents in a nursing home. And I think this will be particularly relevant for those of you who are going into healthcare, whether you're going into a nursing home type of environment or a hospital environment. It's still important to recognize the importance of giving control. Earlier you covered the UPR presentation related to learned helplessness with the dogs, and this really connects very nicely. We want to make sure that we are not encouraging hospital patients or nursing home residents to be helpless, and even providing control over a few small aspects can help with that. All right, so if you haven't commented on 7 out of the 10 possible UPR presentations, make sure you're commenting this week on the presentations. We also, of course, have the weekly quiz, multiple choice, again, no multiple answer questions, just multiple choice, same basic format as in the other weeks. And then the final task, of course, is to submit the Walk in Their Shoes paper. Now, the outlines that I read, by and large, were really well done. And so if you make use of those outlines as you write your paper, of course that was the point of doing the outline, but if you make use of your outlines, I think your paper should be in a really good position. I do have the grading rubric right here if you want to look at what I will be evaluating you on. This should not be a surprise. You want to make sure that you have those real-world examples related to symptoms, impact on work and school, relationships, sense of self, and a person's experience with treatment. And then, of course, you'll also be scored on your overall writing quality, spelling, grammar, just the elegance of your wording, your organization, and given the outlines that I read, everybody should be doing really well here. And then APA style. I want to remind you that I have tried to provide you with as much support and resources as I can on Blackboard to help you with this paper. You do, of course, have several sample papers that are really nicely done. And I also mentioned APA style, and of course a lot of the sources that you're using, blogs, chat rooms, interviews, videos, they're unusual. And so to help you with that, I have made up this citation guide to just show you how to do some of these unusual types of citations. All right, so I've listed all of the ones that I could think of that you might need, but if you do have additional questions, please send me your questions. I'm happy to help you. And then one final comment regarding APA style. You can see I've moved over to the syllabus and resources page. Before I was on the project information page. But I also have some APA style information here. So one of the things that can be really annoying about writing an APA style paper is just formatting the title page. And so I have provided here some videos that I think are really easy to follow on how to do the title page and the header, as well as how you would create a references page, and then some general information about in-text citations. But these are more for pretty typical in-text citations rather than the unusual ones that you're doing for this paper. But again, I am here for you, so if you have any challenges, email me, text me, call me. I'm happy to work with you. So really, it has been a pleasure working with you so far, and I look forward to reading the work that you put forth this week. Thanks. Bye-bye.